What's up, War Report family? It's your host, Caesar Walker. And as usual, I got my guys with me. Mike G's here, Ike Jones, B. Will. Guys, we got a great show for you tonight. Guys, Drayshawn Miller, he's a Tiger. We're going to talk about that and more. Also, who else does Auburn get from the transfer portal to round out this class? And we're also going to be talking top recruiters in the SEC not named Nick Saban. And where does Brian Harsin fall into that list? We got all that and more. Guys, without further ado, let's enter the war room. Hey. War Eagle, and greetings. Welcome. Do us a quick favor. We know people coming in. Come on into the room. Smash that like button. In the room. Whatever you do, smash that like button. And listen, at the War Report, we don't believe in being rude. When you enter the room, announce yourself. Give us a War Eagle. If you're not part of the Auburn family, shout out your city and where you're from. We want to hear from you guys. Gentlemen, happy hump day. How are we doing?
Hey. All right. I see Captain Obvious in the comments here, already trying to start some about some strength and conditioning. We'll get to that later.
Do we got to sip to that? Do we got to sip to that? Okay.
All right. It counts.
Right off the top.
See a Pensacola or the War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Yeah, we see Matt. Someone shouting out from the city.
Mike Hicks in there.
Is that two in a row? Is Mike back with us?
Hicks in there.
You gonna keep coming?
We seen you cheating on us, Mike.
Scotty, man, Scotty, I appreciate you. We saw you went ahead and got in here and made yourself, a member. We saw you do that a little earlier. You know what I'm talking about? Shout that man out proper. Like, hold on, Scotty Davis. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
War Eagle, Scotty.
You get a salute. Welcome to the fam.
Yeah, saw that happen a little earlier, man.
Hope y'all are having a good week.
We're only one away from having 50 members, so somebody go ahead and sign up real quick so we can have 50 officially. So just go ahead and become a member of the the inside situation. We'll talk about it more later, but our round 2 of Chop It Up with the Pro is tomorrow night with King, and you don't want to miss that one. And you can only join the conversation if you're a member, but we'll talk about it later. I'm getting ahead.
Pretty much. Listen, guys, we got some. Let's go ahead and get to it. We got some good news, man, this week. I believe it was it yesterday? Yesterday or Monday? Drayshawn Miller decided to go ahead and put ink to the paper and become a Tiger.
He did that.
Yeah. So we have a pretty good 4 deep, it looks like, the very least. What are our initial thoughts about? We kind of talked about him a little bit on Sunday, but at that point, he wasn't committed. But now that he's committed and is officially a Tiger, what are our thoughts? I'll start with you, Mike G.
Man, listen, his coverage grades are good. His coverage grades are real good. Now, I know what conference he was in. But at the end of the day, shout out burner account down there, always with us from the Quad Cities. Yeah. Having a shutdown corner is always going to be a good thing. And for what it's worth, this kid is supremely confident in his own talents. He plans to be with us. Hey, Phil, my man. He supremely confident in his own talents. He has stated that he really just wants to come play 1 year and jump to the league. Now, if he's that good, I'm all about it. Come on, shut it down, shut that side of the field down for us for a year, and let's keep it pushing. So, at the end of the day, they've got a chance here defensively to do something that's really, really special, and I really feel like if we can just keep the momentum going on defense, they took a little bit of a step back. Shout out Caveman. caveman life coach. Explain that later. If I really need an explanation, that just threw me off all night, right? But
maybe this will throw you off too. What? Hold on, Barney Knight.
Barney Knight, we hope you are correct.
Listen, Barney Knight says War Eagle guys, Bo Nix for SEC Player of the Year next year.
I'm not even going to say his name tonight.
So let's play a game. Let's play a game, guys. After that, if Mike G says Bo Nix's name, what does he owe us each $1? What do you think, fella? What do you think?
I ain't gonna talk about Bo Nix. I lost, so I have to pay y'all.
I'm about to say you lost already, bro.
Glad we didn't set terms.
Starting now. Starting now. We're still setting the terms of the agreement, but we're gonna go there tonight.
You were saying you.
I see Devin Dawson in here in the comments, man. Shout out to him.
Hey, Devin, listen, man. If you don't know all about Auburn, if you have not gotten angry about something today, please go over to Devin's board and argue with people. That's what I do to fill my anger cup during the day. So that's real nice. But yeah, I like I said, Drayshawn Miller is he on paper he looks good, right? Nine pass breakups. We don't have a single DB on our squad with 9 pass breakups. So he had 1 interception on the season. But if he can shut down his side of the field, everybody else in that secondary is going to eat because we are solid, right? So I am excited about this. I wasn't as excited about him when I first kind of looked at what he was doing. But with the guys that we had leave and with him coming in and possibly a dynamic freshman pass rusher that has a chance to make an impact this season, those guys in the secondary could eat. If we can generate a pass rush, interception city. Now, we did a facts or not where we talked about over-under on interceptions. I didn't see it happening. But if we can generate a pass rush, I do see it happening. And guys like Miller will have a chance to kind of help us boost those numbers. So that's where I'm at on him.
Yeah.
So one of our subscribers suggested that we give away a sweatshirt if you evoke the name of Auburn's incumbent quarterback.
Fair enough. You know what? I actually might want to do this because I've given 3 away already. Right. I've given 3 away already. So I may just utter it at the end just so somebody gets one, particularly if you live in Texas right now, because they got some things going on with the code. So nice.
I hope not to answer this question. I hope he doesn't. I hope he has to come in and earn it like everybody else. And I think with this coaching staff, they want to see who's proven on the field, right? Who's going to come out and compete and earn the job. So I want to have the confidence that whoever is starting at cornerback has earned the right to play and start at cornerback. I don't want favorites here. I want guys who the coaches have confidence in are going to perform day one. So if he starts, that's great. If not, he provides much needed depth. And can we shout out Etheridge? Like Etheridge has been putting in some work since he's gotten here.
Listen, we have been recruiting just out of our minds and not landing everybody for 22 and 23, but we've been offering kids that had not been offered yet by Auburn that are 23 class. Like they are getting in, they're hitting the ground running, man. And I'm glad to see that.
Yeah. I just wonder if Joseph Goodman is going to write a follow-up article.
I know, right?
On that trash that he wrote.
We get another
about that nonsense trash he wrote about Carson's recruiting path.
Somebody in the Auburn family should overnight him some cooked crow so he can eat.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what they need because that article did not age well at all. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I mean, the coaching staff, I've been impressed with a few guys on the coaching staff, but they've been working, man. They've been on the recruiting trail, and I'm excited about it, man. Ike, did you have any thoughts
about Drayshawn Miller?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I still have not looked at a lot of tape on him. Like I'm a tape junkie. Like I want to go in and I want to go watch tape. I really want to go see like what he struggles with in coverage and like how, because I think Devin said it earlier about West Virginia's pass defense being the most highly rated in the country. What can we attribute that to? Is it a thing where They had a really good pass rush, and so they weren't giving guys enough time. Did they have a good coverage unit? Was it a mix of that kind of thing? What kind of defense was he used to playing on the back end? Like, is he a man press kind of guy? Is he works better in zone and they played a lot of zone? I don't know. So I don't really know. What I do know is that I like the stats that I see on him. He's going to be able to come in and compete. He thinks highly of himself, that he just needs 1 year to come in here in Auburn and raise his draft stock, get out there and do some big things. I like that confidence, so I'm looking forward to seeing him come in here and do what he can do. Yes, the film breaker downer guy, that is me. Appreciate that, Mario. You know.
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
sir.
I mean, listen, he had 3 touchdowns called on him last year versus 1 interception. And that's actually not bad for
considering the conference.
Yeah, and a pass happy conference. So, you know, when you're the guy, you know, I kind of look at a lockdown corner like I do a shot blocker in basketball. You're gonna block a lot of shots, but every once in a while you're gonna get dunked on, because that's just what happens to shot blockers, right? They get dunked on. Everybody goes, ooh, and it's just like, no, man, he's a shot blocker. He's going to get dunked on every once in a while. So those 3 touchdowns are his couple times he got dunked on. But for the most part, I can't stress enough, he thinks he can come in and just play 1 year and go to the league. So if he's got that kind of talent, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. And I do think that he starts game 1. Because we don't have another corner on our team with 9 pass breakups. We don't. Nobody had 9 pass breakups last year. So, you know, we'll see how that goes.
We do have a deep secondary. DBs were the best position group on our team by far the last 2 seasons. So the fact that they don't have the stats yet, the people who were staying from last year, doesn't mean that they aren't just as qualified to start. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Roger McCreary is going to be one of them. To me, if he's an outside corner, then he's fighting against Jalen Simpson, and then possibly Nehemiah Pritchett for that other outside corner. I think the slot corner is likely going to be, you know, that converted star position that we had under the last folks. So that's likely going to be Tennyson. And so the question about that is, if he wins, if Drayshawn Miller comes in and wins the other outside corner, does Jalen Simpson, you know, become a cover safety? You know, we already talked about Thompson back there. We talked about this a little bit on Sunday.
Right.
Like, what are the options of moving other people around? Or does one of those guys who got some decent minutes last year have to be a dime guy? So like they're only coming in if we're going to the nickel or a dime package in the back end. So, you know, I love having so what I do love is that Jalen Simpson got hurt a few times last season. When he was out, now we know that we've got somebody who can actually come in and fill in regardless of who's going to be the starter. That backup is going to be quality. I didn't even talk about Marco Domio. Like, we've just got so much talent in that back end, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out this season. And I like the fact that we have kids who can be versatile. So hopefully one of those guys is able to do some stuff in special teams that'll be able to help us out a lot, because I've liked the conversions of some of those DBs over to special teams guys over the last couple of years as well. So we'll see, man, but it's going to be good.
Yeah, and I think we did a facts and now talking about which position group on defense was going to be the team's strength on that side of the ball. And I said linebacker, but
I said secondary then.
On paper, the secondary is looking pretty good. We're gonna keep a close eye on that and as to how they progress and how they look. Let's go ahead and talk about, because we're starting to get some questions about other people in the transfer portal, people who are looking to transfer. Let's go ahead and discuss who's next for the portal, man. What do you guys think there? Like, again, there is a running back that I think is Keon Henry Brooks, running back at Vanderbilt, who who just entered the transfer portal, and word has it that he's evaluating Auburn. Auburn is looking at him. Right. We do need a 5th running back. And at this point, I don't see. I know a lot of people are mentioning kids who sign, particularly at Tennessee. I think Auburn is looking strictly at the portal from this point on. I don't know about any kids who may have signed and signing day that they're looking for. I know a lot of people are mentioning Gooch, who just got out of his national letter of intent from Tennessee, but I'm not sure if the coaching staff is looking at another kid out of high school. I think they're strictly portal at this point, which brings me back to Brooks. I don't know if you guys have even heard about this or know about this kid, but I don't know. I think we do need a fifth running back. I mean, when was the last time we've gone through a season where we didn't have at least one running back get injured throughout the season?
Apparently Gooch just signed with Missouri, so we can stop having the conversation about whether or not he's coming.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay. Good deal.
Right. So there's that. So yeah, that's all I mean, again, you know, you guys may not be aware of Brooks, but from a position standpoint, we got running back, we got linebacker, we got offensive line. Like where do you see this coaching staff needing to really where do you think this coaching staff needs to focus on to round out this class?
O-line.
Yeah. I mean, I think having that fifth running back is important, but offensive line ultimately is where we need the depth. We have to be able to have quality people come in and back up. The only reason I was high on bringing in the freshman kid is for stability over the next couple of years, as opposed to a transfer stopgap. Like I understand wanting to be able to have someone be able to play immediately. I'm not 100% convinced that we can't put together quality stuff on the offensive line. Speaking of offensive line, I've already said this once, but we are going to be talking heavily about offensive line tomorrow night with King Dunlap. So make sure you guys tune in to that Chop It Up with a Pro session with him tomorrow. We will be doing some film breakdown. You know, I like to get into that film. So we're going to actually be looking at some of what the offensive line was able to do and some of the deficits that we have across that front. But you know, I think that having quality and depth at that is just one of those irreplaceable things. Like if we saw how devastating it was to have injuries across the offensive line last season,
right?
And we want to be in a position where that's not going to be as devastating going forward. You're never going to replace multiple people up front, but we want to be as deep as possible. So hopefully we can do that with the portal.
Yeah, you checked who was available. Now, currently, there's not an offensive tackle in the portal as of yet, right? Now, a lot can change after spring, though. So that's something that the coaching staff, I'm pretty sure, will be keeping an eye out on. And it's obvious offensive tackles are in high demand. So it'll be interesting as time goes on who becomes available. Yeah, but I agree. I think O-line is definitely a need there. What you got, Mike?
Well, it's just pass blocking, right? Like, you know, we had a really bad stretch on O-line from LSU to Texas A&M in terms of pass blocking grades. They started the season okay at Kentucky. They had by far their worst game of the season against Georgia. Like, I mean, and I attribute that to a lot of things, but we were just outmatched in that game, right? Like, you know, they picked it up. They had their worst game followed by their best game against Arkansas, right? And if you remember that game, it didn't look great, but that was actually a fairly high pass blocking grade for them. And they had an okay stretch until, again, they hit LSU. And, you know, that was Bo's best game of the season. So credit to him in that one, you know, being able to do some things. But, you know, pass blocking for him that game wasn't great. I said Bo, so I'm giving away a sweater. You know, after that, Tennessee, Alabama, Texas A&M just wasn't a good stretch for us. So they've got to find a way, to Isaac's point, you know, we cannot be one injury away from everybody shifting around and playing out of their positions, and it's got to be next man up, right? If you've watched our Building Rapport series, you know, we talked with King Dunlap, you know, and he talked about how he was playing behind a first-round draft pick in Marcus McNeil, and then Marcus got hurt that year that we went undefeated, and coaches used to stress it's next man up. Mm-hmm. People get hurt all the time, and you have to be ready to step in and do your job. King stepped up. You know, Ben Grubbs, you know, said the same thing essentially, and I'm ready for some of that, right? So I'm going back. I'm kind of going back now. We're going to get these offensive linemen in here, and this new strength and conditioning program is going to be critical for them. It's going to be so critical. I can't think of another position group where strength and conditioning is more critical than at offensive line. And these guys have to hold their own. they're going to the extent that they can help our quarterback, whoever that quarterback is, by giving them some time. If it's the incumbent, then we all know, what he's like under pressure, right? If it's a new kid, having a solid offensive line is going to give him some time to go through some growing pains, and they've just got to get it fixed. I've said this. I think if our QB levels up, we're a 9-win team. Because right now, I think we're a 7 to 8-win team with no improvement. QB levels up, we're a 9-win team. Offensive line levels up, we're at least a contender. We're in the discussion at the end of the season, which is all we're asking for as fans, to be in the discussion. So,
right.
They've got to figure this out, man. Like this can't go in this spring. If they can, hopefully, what my prayer is, they get through the spring with no serious injuries to anybody. No setbacks, right? And then get into summer workouts and keep the grind going into fall camp. That's what I hope. So, O-line development.
And I like this comment here. And before the injuries begin to take a toll, I was starting to get excited about our O-line because they were starting to figure some things out. And you just hope that what Brian Harsin, Will Friend, Mike Bobo can do is that they can take what those guys have done and through what they're doing in the offseason, a good nutrition plan, and actually get these guys to build off of the success that they started to have gelling together. Of course, we're going to have some guys who won't play through the spring through injuries they suffered last year. I can't remember who it was, which one it was. But if they can get those guys to build some type of chemistry along that line to just build off of their previous success, I think the O-line can really be good and just get some depth established behind them. Again, that was our issue last year,
right?
Just lack of depth. The front guys, they started picking things up, and I think they started playing better. They just got to build off of that and then establish some depth. And I think that Auburn will be improved along the front line. So.
Right. I mean, as they were leveling up as the season went along, they also got more injured.
Right.
So it can't be understated that they were actually able to make improvements as they became more injured. Right. So a lot of people got experience that might have not otherwise got experience. And then hopefully that carries over into the spring and we just see, solid play all around. Right. So, right. And this is my point about everybody shifting and playing out of positions after an injury.
Right.
Right, that's not ideal for an offensive line. If your left tackle gets hurt, you hope the backup left tackle can just step in. That's not where we were at. Right. So, the makeshift when it comes to offensive line is usually a recipe for a disaster. And we've got what should be a Heisman candidate at running back.
Yeah.
Right.
If for a minute there, but okay.
Listen, I hope that too. Just one of these new guys. But like we have a running back that can do some damage, and if we can run block, their run blocking grades were much better than their pass blocking grades last year. So if they can just improve on that as well, take runs for 1,100 yards this season on a full schedule. So this could be. I was iffy. Brian. To Brian's point, we were at 8. We're a 9-win team. Brian believed we could be a 9-win team. I was skeptical, but I'm starting to come over to that point of view. The more this starts to kind of unravel.
Hold up now.
Oh yeah, slip. That was a slip. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to startle anybody. I know Halloween is until October.
Oh man, listen. Got a question here. We're just eager to see what spring like. Again, we got some talented kids at the wide receiver position. This is one of our more talented position groups. So I'm just excited to see who emerges. And there's just some kids that we haven't seen at all. Again, we all remember how we felt watching the bowl game. Like, who is this Canyon kid and where's he been? It's a good chance he's not the only one. Right. So, Kobe Hudson, I think he has what it takes to be a good receiver, but you can say that about another 3, 4, 5 guys. I mean, you also got some kids coming in as well that may participate in spring.
Hey, listen, at receiver, remember what I said. Again, the last staff evaluated talent so different than this new staff will. Don't be surprised if you see some kids. Now, I went back and watched some tape, And there was a kid who came in, I think like late August, early September, Malcolm Johnson, and he's a burner, right? Yeah. And he, from what I understand, when you come in that close to the start of the season, playbook's an issue. There's a lot of things that are issues, but he's going to get to go through a spring now, and look for kids like Malcolm to come out of seemingly nowhere.
Yeah.
Right, because we didn't know we had these guys because of how they put players on the field. I was never confident that we were playing the best guys before at any position. Right? You're not telling me we didn't have one receiver better than Stove.
Yeah. Right.
I like Eli.
Reliable though.
Yeah, he was reliable, but I mean, was he the best guy to put on the field?
He was reliable, but again, it goes back to what Gus did. Gus just went with his guys, right? Gus knew him. Gus could trust him, and Gus put him there. May not necessarily mean he was the best guy for that position, for that role at that time, but that's who Gus was familiar with, and Gus did that a lot. It was a lot of seniority at a lot of times with these guys. So, what are you about to say, Ike?
Well, my frustration was in the kick return game, right? Like I talked with Mike about this. Like, why was it that we had all this talent on the bench and none of them were even returning kicks? Like, you tell me none of these kids, like, that's the perfect time to get a kid who doesn't have a lot of other playing time, some time to get in the game and show what he can do athletically. But you had, so to your point about Eli Stove, was he the best guy to go back there and return kicks? Like, I got it. Tut was a good returner, but when he was hurt and it was clear he wasn't going to be the guy, you put Eli back there.
Right.
Like, why do you have Tank back there returning kickoffs?
Right.
Like, don't get your starters hurt.
Did anybody,
put somebody else with talent back there, let them return kicks?
Was anybody else holding their breath when Tank would run the ball back on the kickoff return? Like, to me, I'm just like, this is our best player.
That's what I'm saying. What?
But then you got kids like Malcolm who were returning kicks in high school.
Yeah.
All those kids were like Matthew Hill returning kicks in high school. Like, you can't tell me that. Yeah, or you had freaking Worm back there returning kick. Why?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Listen, you know what? I'm hoping to see a willingness to sit down the senior.
Here you go.
For the most, like Matthew Hill, right? Yeah. I'm hoping to see a willingness to sit down a seniority in favor of a talent.
There's Johnson, another one. Like, I just don't understand. We had so many talented kids. Like, you telling me Mark Anthony Richards could return kicks? Like, if you want to put a running back there, you got 4 of them on the team. Put one of them back there. Like, just come on, man.
Again, it's just who you trust, who you familiar with. You're just not giving these kids a chance to shine.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I just got a little frustrated when I started going back and looking at these kids' tapes, and I was like, yo, like, some of these guys weren't highly touted, but they are supremely talented. Right. So, get these guys, I know Mark Anthony Richards transferred out and he's not with us anymore, but there are plenty of guys who are backing up, who are coming up behind. Yeah, JJ Evans, Malcolm, we just started hearing about Canyon at the end of the season. What's the guy that the other receiver? I always forget his name.
Xavion Capers?
Not Capers.
Yeah. Capers, Hudson.
Kobe Hudson. Right, yeah. Like, I mean, we've got, if you can get these guys the ball in space, we've got playmakers all over the place. Right. So this could be this spring, this 8A game. That's what I'll be looking for. Like, is there a concerted effort to get the ball to playmakers? Right? Have they identified the playmakers? Because if it's going to be the Tank Bigsby show, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah. Right. And I saw somebody mention Tank took one to the house that was called back. I'm not saying Tank was not skilled at returning kicks. I'm just saying,
our running back.
Why would you want the guy that you want to tote the rock 30 times a game also returning kicks for you?
Right.
And JJ Pegues is not going to be returning kicks for us this season, hopefully.
Pegues a kick return. Yeah, put the train back there and let them run over everybody. So, I mean, I'm just like, I just think, again, there's going to be some exciting times on the Harsin. 8A will be super interesting. I can't remember, an 8A that I've been more excited about than this one coming up.
It's been a minute since I even cared about 8A. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was like, 8A, whatever.
Yeah,
2014 A-Day. I was excited.
Was that Gus? Was that Gus's first? Was that Gus or the second?
So after
was
the
the second
championship, I wanted to see what that offense was going to look like.
Yeah, I wasn't super excited even then. I was interested in the first year Stidham got down there to the Plains, and then it ended up being like, I was like, oh, that was super disappointing. I was just like, I don't care nothing about this stuff, man. This comment section is going crazy.
Now y'all just mentioned everybody.
Yeah. He said you see a lot of guys that were damn good, leave at the end of the season, right? The good news is that the last coach at least recruited well. So there is
he couldn't keep the talent.
He couldn't keep them
positions. Yeah, at certain positions, yeah, for sure.
Right. But again, fix the O-line and then watch this team be a contender though. Right. Fix the O-line. Get your QB situation in order and better play calling. Play calling is going to upgrade us no matter what.
I must have missed the comment saying that this Devin Dawson says for the guy that said Tut can't field punt. Tut was rated one of the highest returners in the nation. Tut was actually a very dynamic returner before he got hurt. Like I was excited to see him back there returning kicks.
2019,
early in the season last year, he did well. Yeah. So I remember the exact play when Christian Tut became human. It was a kickoff return against Bama. It was either punt or kickoff return.
It was a punt.
And he got hit in the leg. He was like trying to juke somebody, and then he got hit in his knee. After that hit, he wasn't the same guy anymore. Like I don't know what knocked loose in him after that. But he was done. He has not come back and been Christian Tut that we saw the first half of 2019 since then.
Right.
Yeah. Right. He was literally flipping the field for us on our and I think that's what made it even more frustrating watching the offense in 2019 because we was having such good field position when Tut would get the ball. Like he was literally flipping the field if he got a seam. So to see him go from that to him struggling in 2020 to now seeing Eli Stowe fielding punts who wasn't even trying to return. He was just fair catching it and he had clear space at times. It's frustrating. So it just it's interesting to see what happens moving forward. We had a guy in the comments who asked about they said they can't wait for the film review when we finally do film review. We may have some that may come sooner than you may think. Do we want to go to our little mid show break and talk about what we got coming down the pipeline?
Absolutely. Listen, we got a lot of exciting things on the way. So again, tomorrow night at 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central is our second Chop It Up with a Pro. So our resident breaker downer person, which is Ike Jones, will be on with King Dunlap, and they're going to be chopping up because we've already chopped up the tape to show you guys, what we're seeing and why we talk to you about the things that we're talking about, right? King played 9 years in the NFL with two different teams. He had a Pro Bowl type year, and taking advice from a guy who signed a $28 million contract at one point is always a good way to go when you're trying to evaluate what our situation is. So, we've gone through the tape with King. We're going to do that for you guys. So get signed up for that membership, right? We have supporter and insider levels. Insiders, you will be able to ask King questions directly. And we want you guys to get your questions answered. Our memberships are designed for a higher level of engagement. There's a lot of places that you guys can spend your time on YouTube, and we really appreciate that you guys spend your time with us. So to the extent that you want to spend your time with us, we want to provide that extra value where you not only get to listen to us, but you get to listen to these guys who we have connections with, talk about football, and then we all learn something more about the game. So we do have the merch store. The merch store is out. Listen, if you ordered something, it may be coming out of Texas. Check your tracking number because of the ice storm in Texas. Some orders got delayed. So there were some things that I sent to some of you directly, and I checked the tracking, and anything coming out of Texas is going to be delayed for a few days because of the storm. Our thoughts and prayers are with everybody who was suffering through that. So yes, please go do that. And also that's it. So that's it. Talk to you guys up on the news.
So how long have we been doing this show? What? A little over a year and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, we started October of 2019.
somebody finally did this. And I've been waiting on somebody to do this. And Barty Knight finally did it.
I've been saying it for years.
Yeah, that's been happening to me since college. Probably people been doing that, but yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I'm tempting you, Mike.
Casey, Casey has been
He's
on
a
this.
punter.
Listen,
That's funny.
listen, Casey is funny, and I see Casey on YouTube and other places other than the War Report. And I don't always comment on these other things that I'm creeping around on, but I do see you guys when you're commenting, right? I know Casey was kind of high on Tyler's show, kind of coming to Auburn. He decided not to. He's headed to Texas Tech. I thought it was significant that the staff was at least entertaining it. There are some sources out there that said, oh, we were never making a push. I was like, I don't think that matters that we were making a push. I think it matters that this kid was transferring and they thought enough to at least talk to him. Right. Yeah. So we were, Texas Tech wasn't at the top of anybody's list of where he would land. But ultimately, we just need better QB development no matter who's back there. That's the bottom line. Right. So we have a guy who's talented. He's got talent. I've never denied that. Whether he realizes that talent or not is highly dependent on coaches. And our new coaches, I think they're saying the right things. I just want to see if it's going to translate on the field, because we sit here and we give these kids so much flack when they don't pan out. But these literal millionaires who are paid to give them a chance, throw them under the bus when they don't perform. And it's bull. So I hope our incumbent can get it together, because I think if they can develop, that means is that we're set for a few years. Right. Somebody gets a chance to learn. I don't know if anybody, fun fact about that team up north or across the state or whatever. The guy,
I like calling the team up north.
Yeah. Listen, their guy that they have coming in, Bryce Young or Brown? Young.
Bryce already there.
Yeah. He is like the 16th highest rated recruit overall in the last 20 years. This is what they're doing up there. And their last 3 were all really, really good. So I have no other expectation than this guy's going to be really, really good, because that's all they've done. They've proven that. They've consistently put out good quarterbacks. It's time for Auburn to start that trend where we start putting out consistently good quarterbacks, and our backup is a reliable guy. We see it all the better programs in the SEC. The backup is ready to go. I remember a guy was arguing with me, and he was saying something like, well, how many programs have a guy that can just step in and go? Well, the better ones do. The playoff contenders do. So do we want to just be some other program, or do we finally want to be the program that can have a guy step up and our season doesn't go down because the guy in front either isn't playing well or gets hurt?
Right.
I was so impressed with Max Johnson at LSU, but I was even more impressed that they were able to reason against us after we were blowing them out that we need to sit this Finley kid down and give the third string quarterback a shot. And Johnson came in and played his ass off and never gave the job back. And they're projecting Brennan to start next season. But I don't know how you look at what this kid did at the end of the season and you don't give him a legitimate shot to win the job this spring. I don't know. I'm ready for that. We need that on the plane.
They're not giving him a shot. We know that they see Brennan and Johnson in practice. They saw him during the regular season. They saw fit to start Finley over Johnson for some reason. But what they did was, in a relatively short amount of time, Finley didn't get it done. That's it. You're on the bench. New guy, what can you do? Look at that. You're doing a good job. You're in there. That's yours.
Right.
And what you can at least assume is that if anything happens in the spring outside of what they expect, they're going to go with a guy who they really think gives them the best chance to win.
Right.
And we could not say that here. We had no idea what was really going on in practice because they weren't playing the best defense versus the best offense. They didn't want to affect the confidence or the momentum of the players. They didn't want to hurt their feelings. So there's a lot that was going on that would keep you from finding out who was the best guy for the job.
Right.
And I don't think we're going to have that anymore. Thank God.
Yeah, that's a fair point. The lack of ones versus ones in practice certainly hurt development. And we got that confirmed for us over and over and over again by people inside and close to the program that ones versus ones wasn't happening in practice.
Yeah.
right? First team offense versus second team defense, right? And that's a significant development opportunity missed by everybody involved on offense. It just is, right? So you have success against the second team defense, but the truth is you're not facing second team defenses in the SEC every Saturday. Why would you do that? Why was that a legitimate coaching strategy? That's crazy. Right. So, when we interview these players, they all said, that's what you were doing. What? Those are the most notable moments in their careers at practice.
Like they look at us in such a way to where we're like, they make us second guess like what we're saying. Like, okay,
did we say that right?
Like, right. Because it's unfathomable given what they experience that at Auburn that's happening. So again, Harsin has already said he was going to do that. We were going to see ones going against the ones. So to me, that makes me at least excited to know that this team gets punched in the mouth in a game. Mm-hmm. They know what it feels like to be punched in the mouth, right? Because they do it all the time in practice. So they're going to punch back. So, to me, it just makes me, I'm happy to just see what plays out in the spring, who shows up, who rises to there's going to be some kids, back to your point, Mike G, some people like we knew about them, but they've been buried on the depth chart. It's interesting to see who's going to rise to the top under this coaching staff.
You know what? I think this is the truest. Montario Munford says, lack of 1v1 explains why it took 4 games to learn the team's strengths and weaknesses every year.
Agreed.
Every year, we are the slowest starting team in the SEC. Right?
Agreed.
Hey, Sammy, War Eagle. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I cannot agree with that more, Montario. Like, I just think that if you look at the patterns now, we have the benefit of hindsight, and you look back, it took them so long to get started every year, and this is why. They're not seeing any real competition until the season starts.
Yeah.
Right.
What? Right. And we all know practice is supposed to be way harder than the game. So you can make it through a game.
Right.
That's how you practice. You practice until you can barely stand, until you're throwing up, until you can't stand anymore. And then you go out there and you beat the opponent like a drum because you get beat in practice. That's it.
To answer this question, we interviewed and Kurt saying, could you say not practicing ones versus ones hurt kids' development? Yes. We interviewed, and you seem new to the channel. Go back and watch our interview we did with Courtney Taylor.
There's a whole playlist of building rapport. You can see we talked about this with pretty much everybody in those segments. And to a man, they all said, this is the most nonsense thing ever. This is how you get better. It's going against your best guys in practice prepares you to be able to do that against the best guys out there. Right. And I think the thing that makes it even more disappointing is how good our defenses had been.
Right.
So you had the opportunity to go against one of the best defenses in the entire nation every single week, and you dropped the ball on it.
Yeah. And literally wasted a defense. Literally wasted a defense.
Right. Hey, Corey Weber. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate that.
Don't cheers to Corey. I see Corey creeping. From that Courtney Taylor interview, right? The quote that we pulled from him was, he said, Carlos Rogers was a Thorpe Award winner. He was the best I faced. And once I started to beat him in practice, I had the confidence that on Saturdays, who's going to stop me?
Right.
If Carlos can't do it, he's the best. They said if
Carlos can't do it, Corey Webster, I think it was Webster or someone at LSU who was a top QB, he's not going to do it because I'm beating a Thorpe Award winner in practice every day.
Right.
Hey, I'm going against him every day.
Funny story. Carlos Rogers actually saw that quote and was like, man,
stop
lying to these people. and Courtney said, man, I used to give you that work every day in practice. So they got a little thing going, but I thought it was funny. Those guys definitely are competitors. So, hopefully we see a little bit more of that.
Salute to I Am Hop right there. Appreciate it. Who do we think the start? He says, who's your starting 5 at O-line? Also, what do you think about Alec Jackson starting back? So this is something we've actually talked about this a lot recently. we're trying to decide exactly when we're going to do it. Right now, it looks like we're just going to wait until after the spring game happens. But we plan to do, and I've teased this a couple of times, literally we're going to go position group by position group and try to give you our assessment of each of those things. So we're probably going to wait until after the spring game happens to do that so that we can actually get a chance to see some of the younger guys out there playing and give a true evaluation of what we see on during those games. So I plan on looking at the film from A-Day as intently as I possibly can to try to give some true breakdowns of how we feel about that. I do think Alec Jackson played well in stints, but I'll have more for you guys after that, after the spring game on that.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, speaking of that UGA game, somebody said, my bad, I didn't mean to overthrow somebody else's stuff, but speaking of that Georgia game, that's part of what we're going to be looking at tomorrow, so come back, we're going to talk about that tomorrow.
I'm trying to put this up.
We played Georgia in 2019.
Not a member. That's right. Pump us. Give us them likes. Hey, give us more subs. Tell your friends for sure. We appreciate that.
Yeah. If y'all don't know how YouTube works, right? Like we appreciate your engagement. The more comments, the more likes, the bigger we build this community. That's what we're trying to do here. Wow.
Okay.
Listen, wow.
Appreciate you.
Listen, we appreciate you, Tawana. Again, community. You guys are the reason that we do this, and we're hoping to give a voice. You know, it's funny. I spend a lot of time arguing with people about football. A lot of time. I spend an inordinate amount of time arguing with people about football, Tawana, and I can tell
it's
you,
impressive. It's impressive.
That it's the Lord's work, but so it has to be done. You know, people are you know, it reminds me why we're doing this, right? We want Devin knows because I'm doing it in his form, right? The reason that we're doing this is it's not just entertainment, it's education. Right. You know, how can we provide you guys more access to one? I really appreciate that. You guys' generosity actually allows us more time to be able to bring you more content. You know, we've got some exciting things planned, man. We talk about development and evaluation, and we've got some people lined up that are going to help educate us all right on what that means really in the grand scheme.
Let's talk about this for a second. I'm gonna get on. It's not a soapbox, but like I'm gonna make my semi appeal to you all. Listen, man.
Do it. Get on it.
I love doing this. I love coming on here every week and talking with you guys multiple times a week. I want to be able to do it more. The only way I'm going to be able to do it more is if people like I Am Hop comes on and they become members of the channel. You know, we appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
That stuff, you know, the more engagement that you all give our channel, the better we can be able to sell this channel to other people as opportunities for them to come on. We are looking right now. I ain't gonna get too deep in what we're looking. We're looking at some opportunities. But I want to be able to do this full time because I have a passion for it, and I feel like we're good at it, right? And so the more time I can devote to this, the more I can bring you all this. Like people hit us up in our inbox all the time, like, "Hey, when y'all gonna do this? When y'all gonna do this?" I still work a full-time job. I can't. As much time as I want to be able to give to this, I can't give all of that and be able to make sure my family's straight. You probably hear my kids screaming in the background all the time. He needs attention. So
we need money to soundproof Ike's room.
Exactly. So we can get rid of them day jobs. I can come up in here and I can do this more. You feel what I'm saying? So we need y'all support.
In the middle of the
day. I can go live 5 times a day if y'all want to. If this is my full-time job, I just pop up and be like, "Yo, what's up, man? War Eagle," and then shut the live down. I don't care.
Yeah. Listen, do not be fooled by the imitators out there on YouTube. Right? Like, don't be fooled by the imitators. What we're doing is we're aiming to bring you something different. Real facts, real engagement, no bull, facts over feelings every time. Right? So, you know, no agenda either.
Right.
Other than just what is out there. What's the truth? Right? Like we don't hate any player.
See it. Call it how we see it.
Yeah. We don't hate any player. Now we dislike coaches. Sometimes because they get paid money.
I have no hate in my heart for any player. No, like that players, listen, they gonna mess up every now and then, right? Like nobody's gonna have a perfect game. That doesn't exist. We're gonna lose games because players missed the play. Okay, all of that. Life is gonna go on. I'm gonna be upset about it. You know, Mike's gonna break TVs, whatever. It's gonna happen. But what we do know is we love doing this stuff. Exactly. Here's kid in the background. That's exactly what happens, Devin. You see, be peeping game, right? I'd be like,
hey, listen. Look out for the No Sunshine Pump merch. It's coming. Trust me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm getting it together. I'm trying to decide how we want to do. If y'all don't know too, I'm gonna toot my own horn about this. All the graphics and stuff that come up for the channel, all of the merch that we have out here, that's me doing the designs on that, man. We ain't hiring nobody else to do that. All the video editing that you see happening for our videos, that's Mike doing all that stuff. All the audio production that happens for us, that's B Will doing all that. The research and everything that's happening, that's Caesar doing all that, man. We doing everything, bro. Like, so again, we have to have more time to give y'all more stuff because we ain't got no help. This the 4 people you see on screen is what's happening right now. You know what I'm saying? Now we starting to expand and do some other things with the business because we are officially a business now. You know what I'm talking about? But we still need y'all support to get to that next level. You know what I'm saying?
I break TVs because I'm from Phoenix City. Yo, hey man, listen. Now your name makes sense now that I know that you're from Phoenix City. All right. That's funny. T-shirt. Yeah, like I love doing this. I do love doing this.
So, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. Who doesn't want to be paid to do what they enjoy doing? I certainly
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure. Right.
Absolutely.
So,
listen.
Yeah, B Will producing the tracks, all the stuff that you hear on the intro.
Hold on.
Hold on, King in the building. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, listen.
Hey, hold on, man. We official now, man. So listen, we got Auburn players subscribing to the channel.
Subscribe.
Yo, man, the legend. Listen,
if a former Auburn player is a member, then what is you doing? Come on now, be part of the fastest growing family, Auburn family on YouTube.
Time out. The least King could do is sign up because he broke my damn car in college.
Why you gotta bring this up about this man?
I'm petty because I'm petty. He broke.
Hey man. Matt, we appreciate that, man. Hands down the best show. Listen, we love it, man. We appreciate it. Dan Webb, we appreciate you falling through here, giving us a little change for the Mike Hicks. That's joined.
Mike ain't gonna call you out no more.
He done shaved him into me.
Yeah, we saved him. And Mike, Mr. H14 is our boy from college.
Man.
Yeah, so we appreciate you guys definitely. Caesar, what we got left on the
list? Hey, man, y'all making me feel good tonight, for real, bro.
Good night, man. It's a good night. Listen. It was either the day or yesterday. I think it was the day. 247 Sports dropped an article talking about who's the best recruiters in the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Guess who in their bus was number 2 on that
list? Greyhound.
I'm gonna sit this one out.
Gustav. Yeah. So Diaz was number 1. Gus was number 2. And
Mike, missing
the Cadillac.
King responded. He said the Cadillac was already broke.
It was broke after you sat in it, and then it was not built for 350 6.9. It's a Cavalier. Or it's a Cadillac. Looks like a Cavalier. Drives like a Cadillac. Yeah, that's what
mine literally drove like that. Me and Mike both had Cavaliers in college.
Yours was purple.
Didn't Mike have the tan?
It was my sister's.
Like the beige one.
Yeah.
He had a beige one, and then my sister, who had a purple one, gave it to me.
So I used to drive my mom's Cavalier too. It was just the Cavalier crew, except for B. Will was up there with the Camry.
With the Camry, 93 Camry. That's right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's
reliable. A great reminder that we were broke in college. We were broke as hell in college, driving Cavaliers and Camrys.
I had a bad transmission. I had to keep putting oil in mine.
We were going to do this. I don't even remember if we actually got around to doing it, but definitely shouts out to the baseball team for putting that work in on Alabama A&M today. 33 to nothing.
That was it.
Yeah.
Listen, can we get one of those from our football team this year?
Factual.
33-0?
Yeah.
Facts or not, the Auburn football team pitches more than 2 shutouts this season, coming soon.
Okay. All right.
2 shutouts? All right. Derek Mason?
Yeah.
No. It might happen.
Right.
Didn't happen too often under Gus. All right. So back to Gus.
Yeah, back to him.
Back to Gus.
Ross G has got an interesting comment in here. I don't know if y'all want to address it, but
we'll get it. Let's get into the question.
Yeah.
We can that on the back end
okay.
too.
All right. So Manny Diaz was picked to be the best recruiter in the state of Florida currently, followed by Gus Malzahn on what he did in the SEC. Then behind him was Dan Mullen, right? Then you had other like the smaller schools. We're not going to really deal with those. But what we wanted to pivot to off of that is who's the best recruiters in the SEC? Not
I'm about to say we know who number one is.
Nick Saban.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Not named Nick Saban.
So it's not necessarily position group recruiting. We're talking about head coach who puts together the best recruiting program in the SEC, and where does our coach land in that list?
So we know who number one is, right?
Yeah. So basically, we're going from 2 to 7 because we don't care about the Vandy's and the whatever.
I think my number 2 is Kirby Smart.
Kirby Smart, to me is number 2. Yeah,
hands down. Right, like I mean, listen, I don't think you're gonna argue with the level of talent.
Who you got, B? Who you got, B? You kind of quiet over there, B.
If there's anybody, so I don't like.
You got B.
Jimbo, right? That's the thorn in my side personally as a coach in the SEC. Before Jimbo got there, it was Kirby. Now, I don't like giving either one of these guys too much credit, man. But I mean, you have to give that to Kirby. You got to. They are pulling too much talent. They started when Kirby first got there. They were pulling talent away from Bama, and they damn sure pulled some away from us. So we can't argue with the fact that the ranking of these classes that Georgia's been pulling in. Yeah, it's got to be Kirby number 2
for sure.
All right,
I got
your number 3. Are you putting Jimothy at number 3?
Oh no, it's LSU. It's LSU.
Oh, I got Orgeron number 3. That he's my number 3. Any y'all good so far? Any dissenters amongst us?
I'm good at Orgeron being at number 3 as well.
Right.
I just think LSU is done a good job of reloading, so he'll be a 3 for me.
So that means number 4, Jimothy.
You got Jimothy at 4?
I got Jimothy at 4.
B. Will, is Jimothy number 4 in the SEC? We haven't hit. Now notice we haven't even gotten over to the East anywhere yet.
This is funny.
So no, we did Kirby. My bad. We had Kirby. Happy Meals. Oh, Tim Darden. That's funny. That's funny.
So we all right at number 4?
Okay, so wait now. Let's hold on.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Just hold on a minute. Hold on. So we staying, Okay, so here's
you know who I'm tempted to put at number 4 there. I'm not gonna lie.
Who's
that? Oh, I know who you about to say. The
Lane
Kipster?
Kiffin. I'm tempted to put the Lane train at number 4 though. I ain't gonna lie though.
Yeah, I would not put Jim, even though I like what he's doing. I wouldn't put him at number 3. I think actually number 3 for me in the conference is going to be Orgeron.
We said Orgeron. We're talking about 4
we said
now.
Orgeron 3.
We're
talking about 4 now.
4. Okay, then definitely Jimmy.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, listen, we're gonna put a star by all of these, and then we're gonna come back. But right now, I'm gonna say Jimothy. Yeah.
Okay.
So who's 5?
Who's 5 then? Because we still haven't talked about the kid. I'm about to say Dan Mullen hadn't been mentioned. Lane Kiffin hasn't been mentioned.
Dan Mullen.
I'm sorry. Lane is going to be 5 for me. I think Dan Mullen is number 6 on my list.
Okay, so
really,
what are we basing this on?
Thomas got Coach O as number 4 on his list.
That's not too far from the truth. Yeah, like he's. Okay. I mean, I think that's a toss up, right? Like, look at the recruiting rankings. I mean, LSU technically is the 3rd. I mean, in 2021, they had the 3rd highest rated class on 247.
I love your support of Brian Harsin, Casey, but I don't think so. Not yet, at least.
Casey, that is what we like to call a sunshine pump. That's you
love
connected
the support, though.
Directly
by
to
your
the
man.
sun and siphoned off sunlight into that comment. Like that was terrible.
TBD.
Yeah.
Oh man,
love you, Casey. I love you, but that's.
Oh yeah.
So y'all are saying Dan Mullen at 5.
I got Dan Mullen at 5.
Yeah, I got Dan Mullen at 5. Yeah.
So who you got, Ike? Who you?
Well, I said Lane, but y'all saying Mullen.
You got Lane.
I've got them flipped. I've got Mullen at 6, but okay. I mean, I ain't mad at it.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. I've got Lane at 6.
I just think that Mullen has more to work with in Florida, And I just think Lane's just a better overall recruiter. But again, I ain't gonna be mad at Mullen at 5, but I would put Kiffin at 5 on my list.
I would like to revisit this because listen, Lane has only been there a year, and he could actually pick up some steam and actually replace Mullen for that spot. Right. He's only a year in.
King agrees with 5 for Kiffin.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh man, I don't know. Y'all disrespecting Danny boy. Like
that's not disrespectful. He's one down on the list.
That's disrespectful. He was in the SEC championship game this year.
And
he's had better recruiting classes than
he had a guy.
We're not ranking who's the best coach. I've just said recruiter.
Well, he had a Heisman Trophy guy like this year. I mean, like
so. I didn't say who was the best. He was a prop. Now we were saying who was the best offensive play caller in the SEC, which I think we should go and do that another day.
But then Dan Muller would probably be. You recruited Trask. So
no,
he
did not.
Right?
No, he didn't. Trask was there before that.
Trask was. He was. He inherited Trask.
Take the books on that one.
Yeah,
he inherited Trask. Because remember, he was backing up the guy. Who's the guy who went to Arkansas? We thought he was terrible, but he went to Arkansas and actually kind of played better. What's the quarterback?
What's his name?
Yeah, I blank out on names all the time.
Yeah,
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Someone in the comments is going to say it, but
with his knee wrapped up right now, but I can't think of his name. Yeah, somebody put in the comments who the Arkansas quarterback was, so we can stop sitting here looking stupid. Felipe Franks, thank you.
Franks,
Lord, have mercy. Trask was backing up Franks.
Franks low key had a pretty good season.
He had a very good season by Felipe Franks standards, but he was surprisingly good just by anybody's standard last year. Listen, I was not a Felipe Franks, but I ain't gonna lie, Felipe, if you watch the show, which you probably don't, I was not believing in you. I'm not gonna lie to you, brother. But you made me a believer last year that you had because I always felt like you had the arm talent. I just felt like you made a lot of very poor decisions with the football under pressure, not unlike somebody else who plays for a team in orange and blue because you was playing for Florida before.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, the advanced statistics back up that statement to the max. He
turned it around. Look, that was somebody who was mediocre to bad for 2 years. He had a decent season under Mullen before he got hurt. He was all right. He was still making mistakes. Got to Arkansas where they were more ball control and wanted to run the ball, but still, he played much better with different coaches. There may be hope here.
Right. Listen, here's the deal with Franks, right? He was the worst quarterback in the SEC when under pressure last year, right? But he was the second most accurate quarterback in the SEC when not under pressure. Right. So
in other words, when you give him time, he can make you pay.
Right. Yeah. Right. But surprisingly, when he was blitzed, he still had an 8 touchdown to 2 interception ratio. So every once in a while, he will let you.
To me, success against the blitz has a direct correlation with the quality of offensive quarterback coaching. Direct. That means you are prepared for what you are about to see. You have planned for what they are about to do. You have at least a second or third option that is plausible for the quarterback and for the wide receiver talent that you have. That is a direct result of coaching. So he had better coaching and his overall play improved. Let's hope we get something like that this year.
Yeah. No, agreed.
And listen, his OC was Kendall Browse. Kendall Browse is no slouch. So and I think that's a testament to the good job he did at Arkansas. I think that was his first year there too.
So are we agreeing now that Harsin is at 7? Is that what we're agreeing? He's a 7.
I'm going to put Harsin at 7. I'm going to put him at 7.
Anywhere. He hasn't really. I don't even count this as he saved this class.
I'm not talking about who has put together the best SC. I'm just saying because he has a track record of whether or not he can recruit at Boise State. Now we can argue about whether or not he was going to get top talent there, but the talent he put on the field at Boise State was winning conference championships consistently. He was putting guys in the NFL consistently.
It was rated out number 1 year after year.
So I think it's fair to be able to say whether or not he's a good recruiter. He's going to have access to better talent here. Is he going to be able to compete against these other guys? That's yet to be seen. But his ability to put together a recruiting staff that does well, I would say right now he's probably somewhere in the middle of the pack, and 7 or 8 is going to be right where I would put him. I don't know if I would put anybody above him. I have to think about. Vandy's not going to get there.
I mean, I would have put Mr. Happy Meal in front of him,
but he's gone.
But so that put him at 7 for me.
I mean, listen, if everybody give
I think 7 is a good spot.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course he can move up.
Sure. And then probably the guy from Mississippi State is probably going to be number 8 actually
Leach.
right now on the list. Yeah, Leach will probably be 8.
I don't think we need to go.
I'll probably put the head coach of Arkansas before Leach. I'll probably put
Sam
the coach
Pittman?
of Arkansas. Yeah, I'll probably put
no
him
track
there.
record there for Pittman though. He's never been a head coach before last year.
Yeah.
On all those. But so what I want to throw in here,
It gets difficult.
Stoops is the only other one with a track record to really look at from the Stoops.
Right.
So
and it's still mediocre. So the thing about all of this entire conversation, when we're talking about who is the best recruiter that's a head coach, it is much more about the school than the coach. The school is like it's the coach multiplied by the school, its resources, and its history equals recruiting prowess, which is why we were very happy that we were getting good recruiting classes under Gus, because we typically did not just have these slam lot recruiting classes. We just made the best out of a little less than everybody else had.
Right.
But Gus was getting us better recruiting classes than we had ever had. And we had somehow fallen to the middle of the pack on average year after year after year in terms of play. Here, we have the ability to recruit top 3 in the conference. So if we're slotted down behind Bama, Georgia, and maybe LSU, we have the ability by putting a quality product on the field to jump into that number 3 slot. Absolutely.
Right.
And the reason I'm saying that the institution determines it is because I want you to look at the recruiting done by Mark Richt at Georgia and Kirby Smart at Georgia. Kirby Smart has upgraded them a little bit, but not a lot. The talent that Mark Richt was putting in the NFL was phenomenal. They got NFL starters all over the place. The entire time, he was losing games he had no business losing that kept him out of SEC championship games. He lost a very competitive SEC championship game against some more all pros, SEC SEC guys at Bama. But listen, the talent was there. That was not the issue. Mark Richt did that. Was Mark Richt a bad recruiter? No, the institution is the state school. That's the first thing, which is an advantage Alabama has over us. If you are the state school, the namesake of the state, you have an advantage. You are more than likely the older university. You have deeper ties in the state with people who work in the state for the state, who decide where resources go in the state. And I don't want to get too political, but yes, that is actually a thing. UAB suffers from that somewhat because
they share a board of governors.
Yes.
Yeah.
So hold on. I'm gonna let you finish. So why is South Carolina so trash and Clemson so good?
Okay. That's where we go to history. All right. So something like, okay, you think about Kentucky. If Kentucky had been good at basketball since, I don't know what, the 40s or 50s, when all that, they really started caring about basketball, you would figure they would know how to recruit high school athletes, how to find quality coaching talent to come and develop. Why have they been trash at football since they've had a football team? Because the tradition is with basketball. The resources from the fans. And
South Carolina trash at everything.
They are. But what I'm saying is they have never been good at anything. Auburn, at least, it's like what's important.
Women's basketball. Women's basketball. I'm going to disagree with you there. Women's basketball.
Oh, okay.
But what's important to the institution, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If people in Alabama care about football, they're going to put their attention, their money, and their resources and their care into football. The same thing with Kentucky, the same thing with in basketball, the same thing with Duke in basketball. It's why Duke can't just field a great football team. Why? Because they don't care about football. They care about basketball. And that's why we have a chance here, because our state cares about football. Our alumni care about football. So we do have a chance. Now, the coach matters. The coach, absolutely. We saw what happened at offensive line with Gus Malzahn here. We fell 4 spots back. We recruited our offensive line like Missouri. That's how far back we got.
Yeah.
We don't, and that's the most important position group for an offense. And we have an offensive guru as a head coach for 8 years. And he every year was like, well, this was Gus Malzahn's worst statistical game as an offensive coach. How is that possible? We should be number 4 in our conference at least, and we're suffering an offensive line, and the whole offense is tanking because of it. What are you doing? That shouldn't even be possible here. We had better resources.
We should have given him one more year because
don't get me started.
I got nothing.
Man, at the end of the day, what it boils down to is Auburn is not a nobody school, right? So develop, win, recruit, repeat. That's the formula, right? And if you can win, you can recruit.
You can win. That's the key. Yeah. The key is you have to win. You have to show
win.
Or at least put guys in the league, man. Like that's almost as important as winning. You have to
and winning helps you do that because it gives you exposure.
Win and be competitive. That's half the battle.
That's what Courtney Taylor said during his interview, right? Like again, you play on the trash team, it's harder to get looked at, right? And so at the end of the day, these kids will give you a look, and then if you have the development piece, it gives you an edge on everybody else. Right, like kids don't go play for Bama; they go to play for Saban.
Right.
Period. They recruit. The recruits commit to coaches. Right. I saw this comment, and I won't go on a long thing about this, but I just want to say, like, every time I see somebody say, this guy says, we need kids who love Auburn and not coaches. I'm like, that's terribly naive.
I mean, the kids who will love Auburn and not coaching 9 times out of 10 are going to be legacies for the most part, or they're going to be hometown kids, right? Like you're not necessarily going to get the best talent just because they love Auburn. Who was that we were talking to? Devin was like, he didn't know anything about the Iron Bowl until he started playing for Auburn. Right. And and name somebody in the comments who doesn't think that Devin is one of the best wide receivers we've had at Auburn.
Right.
Like he played in the league for multiple years. He ain't not because he loved Auburn so much. He was a good kid who could play football. He came down here to the Plains and he balled out. Not because he loved Auburn. Like, and I'm not saying you develop a love for Auburn after you get to Auburn. And that's exactly what Devin talked about. He was like, once I got here, I loved it here. So you fall in love with Auburn over the time.
And you got to remember, these kids are coming. You got kids coming from all over the country.
Right.
They don't know this region like we do. Like, we grew up close to Auburn, so we know Auburn. Man, if you're coming from Florida, if you're coming from the West Coast or Texas, you're going to develop a relationship with your coaching staff. They're going to become like a father figure, or in this case, because we got younger coaches, like a big brother to you. So if they leave, you're going to feel a need to want to leave, So that's you got to remember, it's about relationships at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah, it just kills me every time I see that. Again, it's naive. It's coaches. Because I think it would shock most.
Talk that gospel, King. Player development, huge part of recording. Cheers.
Right. It would shock a lot of people to know how much some of these former players don't give a damn about Auburn after they leave.
Oh yeah, factual.
I'm going to say it
because the relationships sucked when they were here. They felt like people didn't treat them right, didn't put them in the position to be able to win. Why do you think so? If these kids come in and they recruit, and now the portal opens up and everybody's leaving because what they were sold on is not what they experienced when they got here. We had some good used car salesmen here in the past that were selling dreams to these kids, getting them in the door so that the recruiting rankings looked good. But when it came down to it, these kids aren't getting to see playing time, or when they do see playing time, nobody's utilizing them correctly. It's about developing the relationships and making sure that those kids understand you have the best shot to be a pro after you walk out of these doors, because I'm going to make sure I get every ounce of potential out of you. And I cannot say that has been happening consistently, specifically on the offensive side of the football at Auburn. And I'm sorry, that's unacceptable as a guru.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Right. If you give these kids a chance, you're paid millions of dollars to do so. Yeah. To give these kids a chance to realize their athletic potential, on and off the field. Right. So, if you're not doing that, then you're not doing your job. I said it once, I'll say it again. Players take way too much blame for not panning out, and institutions and coaches do not take enough of the blame. Right. So so I'm going to tell you something. No sunshine pump. As an institution, we've been ruining kids. And I'm not saying that Auburn is the only place that it's happening. It's just got to stop. Right. Like and that's why Gus had to go. So if you would like to, Gus,
let's add
good for you.
That on offense.
On offense, right? On offense,
fair
enough. Right? I mean, we're not giving kids their best chance at their best life on offense. If you were supremely talented and you had the talent to do it on your own, you had a chance. But you would have had that chance anywhere because that's who you are. Right. Those kids could have gone to any other big program and probably had an easier time making it to the league than here. Come on, man. Seth Williams at Bama, Seth Williams at Florida, Seth Williams at any of the top 4 teams in the SEC, right? And he's in the conversation for best receiver in the league. You know,
right?
I mean, I'm not saying he beats out Smith, but I'm just saying he's in the conversation. At Auburn, he underachieves because, again, we have been underachieving as a university. So, you know, what Harsin is talking about, the hard work. If you haven't seen that hype video, I strongly recommend you download that to your phone and you watch it to start your day, right? You know, it is one of those things that just got me so, I'm like, listen, if this is the mentality, that grind mentality that guys like King have been telling us about, right? And that I used to witness when I was in school there. It was like, if you weren't carrying your weight, we're whooping your ass kind of mentality, that kind of mentality, right? And then you thank your teammate, you thank your brother for that ass whooping. I needed that. I needed to wake up, right? That's what we need, that accountability. It starts with the head coach and it filters down to the assistants, and then the players take on that mentality where they're going to put in that work. And we need that hard work, hard hat, blue collar mentality back on the plains, and you'll see a difference on the field. And I think it can be year one. I still think we're an 8-win team right now. Until I see something that tells me different, we're an 8-win team. You know, but if the guy that we have can develop, and we just happen to strike gold in a dynamic freshman here and there, guys who are going to come in and contribute, they can do something special, man. They can pull off some special wins this season. So, you know, I don't know, man. Listen, I don't know if you guys seen our October slate with Georgia moving to the middle of the schedule. October was always brutal.
Yeah.
At least they put a bye week in there for them. Like, October looks awful this year. I think we start LSU, Georgia, bye week, Arkansas, Ole Miss. Did I get that right? I think that's our October slate.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's an awful slate this year. So, Harsin, he's got the ideal start to the season. He's got a road test at Penn State. If, the incumbent is our starter and we go, that'll be a good test for him to see if he's cured his road woes, because he's probably the worst in the league on the road. And then going into SEC play, LSU is our first SEC game of the season.
Yeah,
LSU was our first SEC game of the season, and it just looks absolutely brutal from there. So, hopefully we're going into that game 4-0. That's what I hope.
I missed the days when Mississippi State was our first.
Yeah, man, come on, man. We had Kentucky last year. Like, I would take that this year, but at least they have the games to kind of figure out. So if we follow that same pattern of four games to figure it out, I won't blame Harsin for that this year, because he's going to be doing some new things. He's got a new system.
Right.
But I hope what they develop is a 1-0 mentality this spring and this summer. Right. 1-0, baby. Let's go.
Well, hopefully they're doing it now. I mean, if you go by what you're seeing in the videos, they getting after it. The coaches are involved. I'm looking forward to them having that mentality at the beginning of spring practice, right? Yeah. And I'm hoping everything falls into place. Right. But anything, man. Anyway, man, you guys got anything else?
Yeah, man. Listen.
Well, somebody said what do we think about Travis going to UCF to follow Gus? And I think, Ike said this on the Sunday show. Obviously, any of that bull rumor about Travis being part of the snake in the grass behavior here was completely untrue. And that bears that out. But I mean, I think we're all happy that Travis is over there with him. But you know what? I'm glad Travis is going to get the shot to prove his worth, because he seemed to be kind of stuck behind Kevin Steele. And he was going to be stuck in the spot he was at, which I don't know if it's stuck. You coaching at the school you played at. And I know he was enjoying himself here and working hard. But I think more than anything, man, I'm happy he gets that shot to prove himself. It was going to take him a lot longer to be here and work from linebackers coach up than it is going to be for him to be at, like I said, what I think is the best group of 5 program in the nation currently. and you're the defensive coordinator there, you got a spotlight. Like you get to show out. You go somewhere on the road and play one of these Power 5 schools, and you stifle somebody. Listen, man, your name is gonna be on people's lips. They're gonna be talking about it. We're gonna see that linebacker play pick up or improve. Or listen, you got a chance to hit gold over there in Florida with just some really further recruiting ground and get some guys that UCF may not have been getting before. I'm happy for Travis, and I don't know. I still have doubts about, has Gus learned his lesson? Right. Have you learned anything about what went wrong here and apply that to your coaching game? It don't always have to be doom and gloom for you. It's like, listen, we know what you didn't do right here, but listen, man, just learn from it. Change your offensive line.
We don't have to harp on this, but does hiring Herb Hand as your O-line coach count as learning your lesson?
That right there, that made me feel bad for Travis, because I'm thinking, here we go. Travis is going to be fielding some excellent defenses where the offense is going to let them down because their offensive line is enough to snuff.
Right. And
he's going to be, he'll be frustrated in private if he was, I'm sure. But who wants to do that? Who wants to do your job excellently, hold up your end of the bargain as part of a team, and the other side's letting you down, and then you got to go out there and act like it's all good?
Listen. Again, we said it Sunday. I want Travis to shine. And again, this we all wanted him at Auburn, but at the end of the day, he had a career, and like any career, you want to grow and develop. So this is, it's almost like his steps are being ordered. I am happy to see him in a position where he can add coordinator to his resume, and I want him to do well, because regardless of what Gus does, if you do a good job, there's no shortage of programs, bigger programs looking for a coordinator. Right. You can get out of there if you do your job. So I'm rooting for Travis. I want Gus to do well, but if he hasn't learned his lesson, I want Travis to shine and get another opportunity where he can make even more money and get even more exposure running a defense.
Yeah,
that's
facts.
it.
Yeah, facts. I just hope he does well and he gets out. Personally, that's all I got to say about that. Do your job and get out, bro. We're pulling for you. I know Orlando's a fun place. Maybe he wants to stay down there. I don't know.
Disney World right there, man. He got the kids, you know what I'm saying?
Right, for sure. So, hey, we appreciate everybody joining us. I just want to make sure that you guys remember Chop It Up with a Pro tomorrow with King Dunlap. He was in the chat with you guys tonight, so you guys got a little preview of talking to King. We're going to be breaking down film tomorrow, taking your questions. It's going to be a lot of fun, and that is going to be exclusively for insiders. So you may be able to see it, but you won't be able to comment unless you are a paid member of the War Report and an insider specifically. So we're looking forward to bringing that segment to you guys. As always, the merch store is up. Grab your War Report hoodies, shirts, hats, mugs. We got some new merch that'll be hitting seasonally for you guys. Ike is working on that stuff now. So
shout out to our man Vernon up in this thing. Appreciate you with that little last minute situation. We'll follow through with the YouTube membership. Appreciate you. Time back.
Go check out Vernon Speaks over on YouTube as well. Vernon is our instant reaction guy. We watch his channel when something breaks, and then come back to us to
not like breaks like a TV, but breaks like news.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So Vernon, we appreciate Vernon. He's a part of our community. So thanks. Shout out to Vernon.
And guys, continue to comment. Be on the lookout for our upcoming Facts or Not. Of course, Mike already mentioned Chop It Up with a Pro. That's tomorrow for our insiders. Guys, always, man, you know what to do. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you haven't, what are you doing?
On your way out the door, you could just hit the like button. You know what I'm saying?
Just hit the like, subscribe. All right, stop playing. You know you like this content. Also, guys,
like this.
You can find us on Twitter and IG at the War Report. It's also TW Report at TikTok. Guys, we signing off. As always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.